Hello, it's me, Mario. You watching GRTV, my favorite. Wahoo!
All right, so the Witcher and The Witcher 2, of course, which you guys are here to present now, is, well, it's called a dark fantasy.
Yeah.
And for the people who haven't played The Witcher 1, how would you describe what makes a dark fantasy?
Okay, well, dark fantasy for me is a theme that goes like into human emotions, and it's not really an epic scale good and evil battle. I mean, this is what happens with dark fantasy. I mean, the choices we got in the game has their consequences, and they're never easy. They're never choices like, should I, buy the candy or steal a candy, or like, yeah, should I be this evil guy with, I don't know, lightnings, or the good guy with healing spells? It's not like that. I mean, it's not a legend, yeah. We want the story to be like believable. We want to feel to get like more a feeling of a middle-aged thing going on there. Not like plastic armors and stuff like that. And we want people get hurt, your friends get hurt. Sometimes you make decisions you think they're right, but they're not, and things end up really messy. And we want players to be really focused on how the story develops and really into those choices. I mean. You need to do that, not to think, okay, I want to be like the good guy because the good guy will have the spells I want, right? We don't have such mechanisms there, and the story is constructed around it. It's constructed only around those choices, and you're developing your character like choice by choice. You're not going like, okay, this time I have to choose this path because I chose this path last time, and I'm developing a character this way. I mean, each choice is different. Those situations are in black and white, and I think this is what dark fantasy is about. And some people call it low fantasy. Low fantasy is like no angels, save the world stuff. It's more of kingdom has a problem. You're a guy that's not really a young knight, getting there to fight the dragon and save the princess. And, well, that's what Witcher is about. I mean, he's an outcast. He's an outcast. He's a guy people don't like. People spit at him. Oh, or behind his back, he spit on the floor because they think he's cursed. It's not an easy character to go with. He's not like a rock star of middle age, though sometimes he seemed like because of his, image, two swords and stuff.
What's it like been working, as you said, with the books? What's it like to work with that source material and turning it into a game?
I think it's great because the world is more believable. You're not constructing the world for the sake of the game. So I think if you're constructing the world for a game and you have no background on it, not like no true background. For example, a different story that happened in the world, like the story like was written in the books, then. I mean, you see through it as a player, as a gamer. You play the game and you feel like, okay, sometimes there's nothing behind it. And it's easy to design this game because in the studio, when you go, okay, let's bring a Nilfgaard thing here, right? You don't have to talk to those guys and convince them what is the atmosphere of the thing you want to bring up. It was in the books, it has its power, so the discussion is quicker, and everyone feels like what it will end up being.
What's been the greatest challenge for you personally during the process of writing, especially The Witcher 2 with all the non-linear gameplay? What's the biggest challenge for you personally?
The biggest challenge, well, I'm a writer, I'm a script writer, but I write the dialogues, and you really want to keep the integrity of the character. And not only the protagonist, but the other characters. I mean, you really need to work on those characters before you write the first word that they say. It's easy, to get lost in the dialogue and to go like in some places you wouldn't like to go, and suddenly you feel, okay, this character is not the character I had like 2 pages before. You really need this story to be coherent stuff because we want the message, well, not the message because I think it's not a game with a message, but we want the story to be clear, yeah? We don't want it to go like, oh, this is absurdly funny, this is extra dark, I don't know where I am at the moment, yeah? So we put a lot of effort to, develop the characters before we write what they say. And after we've written the dialogues, for example, for a whole chapter, we do stuff like, okay, now you are gonna take care of Yorveth. Read all his dialogues and make sure he's this one guy, okay? Because we got a lot of writers, right? And you can't really, arrange the work so that there's only one guy who's going to write like Geralt's dialogues, right? And all of us are writing those dialogues, but we need them to check that are all coherent stuff. And I think it's really difficult, especially with the dialogue being non-linear. And you know, sometimes it's hard because the character is well developed. I mean, in the books, but it's a role-playing game. The player must build something inside this character, you know, his own thing. And it's difficult because we're thinking, okay, can I put this choice here in the dialogue? And someone says, no, Geralt will never do something like that. But okay, what would Geralt do? I mean, you need to find this golden spot between, you know, the Geralt from the books and some free space for players. And I think we managed it.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm talking too much.
It's perfectly fine. That's why we wanted to talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.